Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Full Force News Burst Live special with me, Christopher McLeod, aka Diagnostic 80, brought to you by General Joe's REBORN.com. Hope everyone's doing well. Uh, wow. Lots of things to unpack here. Okay. We'll have to start with Correction Corner again. I'm having to do this quite a lot recently, and it's starting to affect my confidence in the information that I get quite often. Now, we were told a number of quite a while ago, actually. It was probably might even have been last year at this point, maybe towards the end of the year, going into the new year. We were told that there was going to be a two-pack featuring Falcon and Heart Wrencher, Night Force Falcon and Heart Wrencher, and obviously, a Walmart exclusive. And it was Zorak, and we were like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, all of the other two packs that we'd kind of been getting information on, like Tiger Force Tripwire and Roadblock and the Spirit Low Light Marauders two pack, sort of made sense in a way. It was like two figures, same deco, same team, brilliant. And I couldn't quite understand why all of a sudden they were switching to a kind of almost like good versus bad versus pack, and it didn't really make much sense. But yeah, that was the information we got, and we had it corroborated multiple times. Heart Wrencher looks amazing. So anyway, I just want to basically kind of get into that first because that was an error, and I'm hands up. That's what we thought it was going to be, and so did other people because obviously it leaked out a little while ago, and we had obviously confirmed that leak and everything, and it was like, there you go, that's probably what it's going to be. It turns out that wasn't the case. Now, I don't necessarily think plans changed here. I think there was just a misidentification, or there was a mistake made in terms of the identification of what was being looked at, right? Or maybe some sort of information audibly that wasn't communicated correctly. That's what I think happened there. Because I don't think they were going. I think this was in the plans for the forever, because it very rarely is that they change plans like that. I don't know. Anyway, it's irrelevant at this point. You never know. We might find out later on. We might find out that Heart Wrencher was planned for this two-pack, but I don't think we'll hear it in the near future. It'd be kind of way in the distant past when the next Toy Wars book comes out. Yeah. So anyway, and then obviously we had an inkling that the two-pack was going to be shown off for the sneak peek for this particular comic Collecticon, but we didn't know for sure. It was the only one we knew that was coming next. And of course, with the fact that we had a Collecticon right around the corner, it just made sense that that was the Zorak set was going to be the one they were going to show. Lo and behold, it was the two-pack. It was Night Force Falcon, which again was another thing that I think we actually revealed when Falcon's name only reveal was mentioned. They didn't say Night Force Falcon for the name only reveal, did they? But we did confirm that after the fact when that name was dropped, basically. So we knew it was Night Force Falcon, but we had no clue about Quarrel. And I'm telling you right now, what a beautiful combination. Let's get into it, because I could give you all the gump for the beginning. Let's just get into it. Amazing. So when this popped up, I have to say, when this morning when Collecticon was about to kick off, I was probably there about an hour beforehand and just kind of doing other things, obviously getting on with stuff, but having my phone on the little timer that was ticking down. And it finally gets to the end. Aaron, how you doing, buddy? Quarrel was such a nice surprise. I know, right? Crazy. Anyway, or Quasi, if you put a QU at the beginning of it. But yes, indeed. I hope you're doing well, pal. Yeah, love you, man. Right, so that's thrown me completely. Thanks, Aaron. Absolutely typical. No, seriously, love you, dude. And yeah, so I was watching the timer go down, and it got to your Quasi, your quackers. It got to the it was like ready and everything. Walmart Collecticon is not clear And so I had to refresh the page about 50 times. Nothing was happening. I thought, okay, I got to about 15 minutes in, and I'm like, yeah, we're not going to see anything today. It's not going to be G.I. Joe. And then Jeremy Kimberlin, who's in the chat, messaged me to say it's effing Quarrel. And I was like, huh? Like my brain was doing that information in my head when I saw just that come up on the notifications. So I knew exactly what you were getting at. But then I was like, okay, where is it? Just as I saw that notification, boom, there it was on the screen in front of me. Falcon, Night Force Falcon, and Quarrel, and the fact that her deco and his deco go so well together, and Falcon isn't too removed from his original deco at all. He's very close to it in actual fact. I love the fact that they work together, and of course I would never have put them together at the same time. So this is I think this is an absolute win from the team here. Absolute win. Now, Jason Keane says, does the release of Quarrel mean we may get other Z Force and SAS Action Force figures? I don't see why not, Jason. This seems like a very nice precedent, doesn't it? But then again, Glenda was kind of an indication of that. Big Ben, although not technically a European figure, was another indication of that. Tiger Force Outback was an original indication of their intentions for that as well. So she isn't the first, but she definitely opens the door for Z Force, doesn't she? Like 100%. I don't see why we can't have a no camo jammer or a camo jammer. I don't see why we can't have a jammer, gaucho, those kind of repaints. Certainly don't see why we can't have a repaint of this old shiny bugger as a Redmond laser. Like there's so many options, and the same goes for Destro as well. Maybe like as a Red Jackal scenario, and maybe they could do the AKA thing. I know Red Jackal's another character, separate character, but if they wanted to kind of fit it into the classified series and narrative, it could just be a different costume for Destro in a sense, couldn't it? Anyway, that's by the by. That's by the by, because Quarrel. Now, this is the packaging. Now we know it's 138. So for any of the people that are taking note of the numbers, I know a lot of you are. That's one thing. There's loads to talk about here. We will get to all of it, and we'll start with Vincent R. Falcone. A few people I know, and I'm going to address some comments that I've seen already. Some people were saying, how come Falcon gets like a whole name and everything and Quarrel just gets Quarrel? It's because copyright. If they could have put Falcon or LT Falcon and Quarrel, they would have done. But obviously Falcon is, as you can imagine, there's another Falcon out there that causes a bit of a litigatory issue. That probably isn't a word. Anyway, Falcon as in Marvel. So that's an issue. So obviously they have to make it Vincent R. Falcone in order to, give him the full name to get around copyright. Quarrel doesn't have that Quarrel. So they can get away with just putting Quarrel on there. So that's why it's like that, first and foremost. Secondly, a lot of people were saying, in fact, I saw some people say, oh, they didn't update his face. They most certainly have upgraded the head sculpt. It is a new head sculpt, and it is phenomenally better. And I'm very, 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 very happy that they've done it 100%. So this was expected. We knew that Lenny had even mentioned a new Falcon was coming. I was just assuming they were going to go all over the place and just do a new figure altogether, but it looks as though they are reutilizing parts, which makes sense. You don't want to have to redo an entire figure sometimes if you can't help it, and obviously they can in this sense, and they've given us a Falcon. This is where I'm going with this one. Obviously, they utilized the Outback body and arms, which also show up on the Range Viper. So a lot of people saying, oh, a lot of Range Viper reuse. Well, yeah, but technically it's Outback reuse, isn't it, originally? So you've got the Outback kind of torso and arms, but it gives him more bulk, which kind of is pointing it definitely towards the animated movie version of Falcon more so, is it not? Giving him that bit more, beef going on. So yeah, And I'm telling you now, the head sculpt's gorgeous. What an amazing head sculpt they gave Falcon. Brilliant. Action Force the movie, it's called, Paul, not G.I. Joe the movie. Um, um, yes, Wreckship 85. It's 100%. The fists issue is that Falcon, yeah, there's no fists for that particular mold, I guess, or they just didn't want to include it, give them some different kind of accessories. Face is definitely reminiscent of the film, isn't it? 100%, Paul. I love Night Force. I love this set. I need Night Force Outback. Yes, Matthew Matson. I think all of those things I agree with. And the last one, I will probably say, I'm just going to go out and say it. It's coming, in it. Let's face it, it's coming. Yeah, let's excuse me. Comics E Cafe, hello, says love the camo colors on the Sunbow Falcon. Hopefully, we see that rendition for retro release. That's a very good point. Gonna have to track down another RAM for Quarrel. Why, Rachel? Have you run out? This is another. Okay, that's another point. We'll get to that later because I've got a whole image for that as well. But first off, there's your classic packaging, Night Force. So it's Night Force Falcon and technically Night Force Quarrel as well, which is great, which is cool. Now, this is the loadout they come with. Now, I just wanted to kind of read out specifically who gets what according to the text. It's been broken up into this for each figure. Falcon comes with an alternate helmeted head. So these are both alternate heads. They're not like kind of removable helmets or anything. These are alternate heads. Because I know that question is going to come up. These are alternate heads by the looks of things on this information. Backpack of, we've seen that a few times now with Falcon and with Wolf Spider. 2 flashlights. So Falcon gets both, although I might be more inclined to give them each a flashlight. Do you know what I mean? Or a torch. Because one, I don't like saying that word, the first one. But two, I think, it's just greedy having 2. You're both in Night Force. Let Quarrel have 1. So even though it's supposed to be Falcons, which again, where are those flashlights going? They don't connect into anything. They don't go into they don't go on him in any way, do they? Does he have a port for a flashlight? I don't think he does it? Or maybe on the right-hand side, is that a pouch for one of the flashlights, like Outback? Is that what we're dealing with here? Someone tell me. Somebody just tell me and put because you know how crap I am at isolating parts, secondaries, reuse. If it's colored a different way, if they paint it a different way, I lose sight of what I'm looking at immediately. I am crap with this stuff. The flashlights did come with Tunnel Rat and they plugged into his backpack. Exactly, Sean. Where do they go? He doesn't have the same thigh overlays as Range Vipit. Thank you, Jeremy. But doesn't Outback have a flashlight on his legs? And doesn't he not? I'm sure he has like a little double loop job, doesn't he? And I don't think is shown on here. So it looks like they're just going to be. You're just going to have to hold them. I would give 1 to each. I'm just saying. He also gets a knife. There are 3 knives there, so I'm guessing that the 2 small ones go with Quarrel. We'll get to that in a second, though. Night vision goggles, which are the Tunnel Rat ones, and multiple weapon accessories. So shotgun from Falcon, original Falcon, original pirate material. Is that Big Ben's gun to the right of that? And then gung hos at the bottom, right? Okay. Anyway, yeah, they don't go anywhere. There's nowhere to put them, the flashlights. So I give them one. One of them gets. I'm splitting them up. End of story. He gets a new face sculpt and his signature beret. So that's nice to know. I wonder if that's the same beret and the same, like, although they've kind of like kept that to the same kind of specification, size, shape, all that kind of stuff. It'd be interesting to know if they do that. But he's got a new face sculpt, so that's great. But we knew that. The Quarrel figure comes with character-inspired accessory pieces, including alternate helmeted head, again, separate head, alternate hands, punchy fists, which is the technical term, 2 knives, that clears that up, crossbow with 4 bolts, and multiple weapon accessories, which are the 2 pistols and the machine gun. So pretty cool. Pretty cool indeed. Oh, range viper gun, and yeah, of course it's not gung hos, is it? Of course not. Sorry, thank you, Jeremy. It's range vipers weapons. You're right. I don't look at the range viper enough. Where are you? Oh, you're over there. You're miles away. How can I? I can't even see. So yeah, you're right. Sorry, you're right. It's range vipers, kind of launcher and machine gun, and the shotgun is Falcons. Yeah, in the backpack. Got it. Thank you. Again, I'm terrible when it comes to identifying all of this stuff. I just can't. I can't recognize it, and I think it's just something in my brain that doesn't quite wire correctly. I can't put the two things next to it. If they're colored differently as well, if there's different colors to them, forget about it. I cannot separate them. I mean, I can separate them because I can't combine them is the problem here. Anyway, classic. I'm reading the rest of this blurb because it's fun. I think Yojo G.I. Joe explodes into a larger-than-life era with 6-inch action figures. That was a while ago, wasn't it? Yeah. The G.I. Joe Classified series evolves the retro toy. We know that. Classic Night Force Vincent R. Falcone and Quarrel inspired design features a classic design updated to bring the G.I. Joe Green Beret and Undercover Operations Commando into the modern era, and 23 accessory pieces inspired by the character's rich history. 22, 23. Counting that again. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 20. I'm only counting 22 now. Is there something I'm not missing? Have I missed something here? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. I'm only counting 22. They lied to me. Apparently, oh, is beret. It's his beret. Thank you, Scott. I said that as your comment came up, by the way. I'm not going to take that as you told me. But yeah, Falcon's beret is. Thank you, guys, and they're all flooding in now. It's his beret. It's the beret. Beret is removed. Like, it's hilarious how this works. It's like I'll have a question, I'll figure it out, and then a few seconds later, like the comments are like, which is great. I appreciate it very much because there's times when I don't work it out and I need you guys to. I mean, today already that's happened, and I think that's pretty much it, really, to kind of really point out. Yeah, 138 number, and I think that's pretty much it. Yeah. I like the last bit that says a perfect present. The Night Force Vincent R. Falcone and Quarrel figure set makes a great gift for lifelong fans of G.I. Joe toys, or for boys and girls who love action and adventure. Love that. Amazing. Amazing. Anyway, I don't think you can remove her vest. It's the shooter torso, and the vest is molded on. Oh, interesting, Leon. I thought it was just a secondary over the Scarlet body, but that's good to know. Again, I'm not very good at this identification. In fact, I've got Scarlet down here. I'm just going to look. I'm going to compare. Yeah, that's definitely not Scarlet's body, is it? Yeah. Yep. Okay. Fair enough. So I like. Well, it's nice that they've kind of made some differences to that particular, kind of build and everything, and it does separate her a little bit from other characters. Did Glenda have the same? No, Glenda had full-on retro Scarlet vibes, doesn't she? Yeah, Glenda has a full-on like same kind of vibe. So yeah, awesome. Took them 138 figures to get some Z4, says Paddy Lennon. How you doing, Paddy? It did, and I know you've got a bit of an issue with one of the aspects of this, which you can't see on this image very clearly, or no, you can't. But we'll get to that, Paddy. Have no fear. I will talk about it. Yeah, torso is shooter. Yeah, thank you. Quarrel does not skip leg day. Indeed, Sean. That is some. Yeah, she's definitely rocking some thighs there. Looks like Jinx head and neck. I don't think it's Jinx's head. I'm pretty sure it's a different head sculpt. I'm pretty sure the hair's different as well, but neck possibly. Yeah, she doesn't have a holster, does she? She has the The bolts kind of quiver on her side, and she has I'm guessing, a knife sheath on her thigh. So she's going to have a lot of loose kind of stuff going on, unless she's got stuff on the back of her belt. Looks at Scarlet. Can't see anything on the back. Where did Scarlet keep her pistol then? Is there nowhere for Retro Scarlet to keep her pistol either? I don't know. I haven't opened it yet. Should do, shouldn't I? It's not Jinx's neck, as that was a necklace add-on that wasn't sculpted yet. Yeah, so the shoulder pieces, that's an interesting thing, Leon. That's the steel core secondary, isn't it? With the shoulder pieces. Isn't that's a call out to when he got shoulder pieces for the, I want to say it was the 4-inch, it's going to be the Marauders repaint, isn't it? Not repaint, but the Marauders figure from the 7-pack. He had shoulder pads there, didn't, like weird kind of additional shoulder things on there. So I think that's kind of like a call out to that in a sense. This set goes up on Pulse as well. Yes, in limited quantities next week, Kev. Retro Scarlet doesn't have a sidearm holster. No, she clearly, I've had a look, Sean, you're right. She does not. She's got a sidearm, but no holster. Great figure though. I'm surprised I haven't bust this out yet. She looks great. Got to get that sorted. Does Quarrel have a throat mic and earpiece? Maybe, possibly. That could be what she's rocking there. Let's have a look at some of the other images. I didn't even notice that. That's a good shout though. The Falcon uses dusty shoulders, I think. No, I'm pretty sure that's Outback, isn't it? I'm pretty sure it's Outback. The whole torso and arms situation. Anyway, it doesn't really make it. It's not really that important, is it? We'll figure this out. I'm sure someone's broken it all down anyway. Looks like the throat mic. Yes, says Paul. Okay, cool. Jason says, would love to see classified versions of some of the 5 of A Z-Force figures like Tracker and the Infantryman. Samesies? Yeah, indeed. I kind of want them to do more of the original characters that never got kind of the G.I. Joe full articulation treatment. The 5 of articulation guys like Eagle, like although we kind of did get Eagle with Big Ben, but I mean the opportunity is there to do an Eagle in general, isn't there? Because they've got some of the, the parts already for him. I meant the Marauders version, yeah. Oh, right, I see. The Marauders Falcon used Dusty's shoulders. That makes sense. I see what you mean now, Steps Toys. My apologies. I see what you're saying. This is the problem. When I say something and then move on quickly, and there's that delay, I'll misinterpret everything. I ain't remembering anything that's been said 5 seconds ago. Good shout there, Leon, about the shockwave thing, right? A Nightforce shockwave, and when they look at it, they're probably looking at it like, we want to put the figure. They probably want to make both sets very, what's the word? Like, what's like the most opportunity to sell as much as possible, I guess, in a sense, isn't there? And I think, is it more likely that they'll sell a lot of these and a lot of Shockwave and the Ram? And if you switch those two figures around, if you put Shockwave in with Falcon and Quarrel with the Night Pursuit, does that work for them? Do you think they sell a lot, or do you think they worry that Quarrel might not be able to carry that repaint of the Ram as well as, say, like a Nightforce Shockwave would? I feel like what they've done there is strategic more than anything. I feel that they were looking at it going, could we do Quarrel with the Ram here and Falcon and Shockwave, or could we do what effectively ends up with looking like a really cool on point sort of deco similarity 2-pack with Shockwave over here? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like there might be an element there where they've taken that on board, and they may have thought about this, and this might have been part of the plan. And then they've gone, will we sell more Rams, repaints of a Ram effectively at the end of the day, with Shockwave or with Quarrel? And they probably decided that it would probably be, they've probably done that on purpose, right? But what this doesn't mean you can't put Quarrel with the Ram. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can just go Ram, Quarrel, bloop, it's totally up to you at the end of the day. I've always been a little bit. I'm all I care about is getting the items that out there. I kind of don't really care how it happens, and the fact that we've had Quarrel and 75 Rams already, like I feel like it's not a missed opportunity because like they're looking at it like let's do another Ram the same like green but with slightly different tampos. That's probably not what they want to do. They've got the green Ram is out there, right? It's not Z Force, absolutely. They've got a Night Force Ram, which kind of hints that maybe you could put Quarrel with it. Do you know what I mean? It is what I'm getting at here is that at least they both exist in the line, and we're going to have an opportunity roughly around the same time that both are going to be able to be combined together, and you can enjoy that. What happened to Heart Wrencher 49 O'Brien? Got me. Like I said at the start of the video, as I prefaced this the beginning, we were told that it was going to be Night Force, Falcon, and Heart Wrencher. We didn't understand why. It felt a little weird and a little kind of confusing. But that was the listing information, and that was reiterated from multiple sources. It was different, coming from different places, but the same information. And effectively, it was probably just the case that it was all coming from the same place. Do you know what I mean? The information, and this was a long time, prior to it coming up. So, I will say right now, I have never been happier to be wrong about something in my entire life, because I thought that would have been a weird 2-pack. And this is amazing because we get Quarrel, and yeah, brilliant. And also Steel Core. They've really pushed the Steel Core angle here. So I think they're going to be like, well, let's at least make it so that people might want multiples of these sets, because you'll want one just for the figures, right? For Falcon and Quarrel. You might want another one so that you can have Steel Core army builders. You may want another one. Well, two would work, because you could have your Falcon and your Falcon and Quarrel unmasked. And then you could have a Steel Core variation of the two, and you could use the heads elsewhere. You could guess where you could put the new sculpt Falcon head. Where could you put that, do you think? I tell you what, I'm going to be putting that other Falcon head not in the bin, but in storage, and I'm going to be putting this one on top of it because it has to happen, doesn't it? So yeah. Now, in terms of Heart Wrencher, we don't know now what that's about. If we only had that as a rumored name because of that listing information. So, with that said, does that reignite the opportunity where a lot of you might have been saying it's a missed opportunity, where a lot of us were saying that, to not have her with a ground assault vamp style vehicle, which still could happen now. So yeah. Sean says Walmart has increased the price of Night Force Shockwave. It's $42 now, still a sale price. Yeah, still really good value. But yeah, go nuts. Get as many Shockwave and Rams as you want now. Although technically, me personally, I'm getting Shockwave and the Ram. Shockwave is not going to be on that Ram. He's going to be elsewhere, and Quarrel is going to be operating my Night Pursuit. That's what I've decided. I'm not having any arguments with anyone in the comments. That's my decision. No, that's what I'm definitely doing. I'm definitely putting Quarrel with the Night Pursuit, and I think Shockwave is just going to join. Well, they're all going to be in the Night Force display area anyway, but he's going to be more, kicking doors down and stuff. Anyway, by the by, let's move on. So we're nowhere near promo images yet. Sorry. We're only half an hour in, so yeah, plenty of time, right? So here is Falcon, and what I did was I thought I'd get a couple of images of his other versions of Night Force Falcon, just to kind of like get a vibe of what they were going for, what I think is like a win and all that kind of stuff, and what I think they could improve on. And honestly, like I can't. There's not much there's not other than there's not really. Again, I'm looking at this going, I don't really have any notes. You guys might, and go ahead, put them in the comments. 100% go for it, and we'll talk about them. But Flaffle, they're alternate heads. I've already said this. Where have people been? Are you just joining? Yeah, they're alternate heads according to the website. They're not removable helmets. Now, back to this. So I was kind of looking at the original Falcon. They've done really well in kind of keeping that deco and that vibe with that particular, in the positioning of all the deco and everything. So they've got a lighter grey shirt. You've got the green kind of band neckerchief thing, which again, maybe they could do a more like his original kind of tied up and little tassely kind of vibe. I think that would have been nice if they'd have gone to, if they'd gone that far with it and really redone that neckerchief. But it's not necessary, really. At the end of the day, that's the only thing I think I'll say on this one. I know a few people aren't really into the shoulder pads, but again, I think it gives him some like little extra additional kind of visual interest as well. So I'm not too fussed about it. I quite like them. I could definitely see them using this figure and doing a completely new retro Falcon. That I could see happening, definitely. But would they add any other things in there? Probably not. They'll probably keep it very simple to what we've kind of already got in terms of accessories and stuff. But like I said, I think it would be really cool. And they're removable. Yes, totally true, Jeremy. The shoulder pads are removable. Maybe they should be included in the accessory loadout as well. So it'd be 25 accessories technically. Can't really count the secondaries that can't come off as accessories though. They're like fixed secondaries, aren't they? Anyway, anywho, it's irrelevant. Yes, they can come off, so it's fine. If you don't want them, you can take them off. So again, it's a win-win situation in my opinion on this one. I don't think it's taking anything away from what could have been in the box, other than maybe a place to hold his flashlights or his torches, I should say. So maybe there's that, but again, I'm really reaching for stuff here, and I'm only doing it really because I don't want it just to always sound like I'm like, this is amazing, even though that is what it always sounds like. I'm just so stoked that we're getting a new Falcon that is definitely of the standard that I think everybody is happy with, and the standard of the classified series in general. I feel like that figure, the first figure, is such a drop off in terms of the quality of the line. So it's so visually like obvious as well that is a drop off. And so like I'm just quite happy that we've got this renewed visage for Falcon, and a new build as well, because I wasn't really sold on the figure build itself either, to be honest. The parts work with other figures and the deco's off, but anyway, there's a lot of problems with that one. That said, this makes me very happy and makes me happy for the future as well. And now we've also got the FSS Night Force Falcon as well, which was done during the club's reign, and it's a little bit darker, that one. So they've definitely gone back to the original in terms of the deco. The lighter grey for the shirt, it's much darker grey on the more recent Night Force Falcon, and the brown is definitely ever so slightly lighter than that dark brown on the pants of the club figure, but they did carry over the green knee pads, which I thought was a nice touch as well. So that's brilliant. I'm loving it. Now, Quarrel. Now, for those that don't know who Quarrel is, how dare they? Now, Quarrel is, of course, synonymous with the Palitoy Action Force era. Now, I believe this one came out in '84. I'm pretty sure it was anyway. I'm just going to double check. It was 1984, and she came packaged with the Z-Force Rapid Fire motorcycle. And of course, that was a repainted Ram, which had I'll just show you. There it is. There it be. So the green was obviously more like, what's the word? Z-Force green. And obviously kind of the black and the red were thrown in there as well to obviously mimic that deco on Z-Force. And of course, Hedda Pulver herself, that's her real name, from Switzerland, may I add. And this is one of the things that Paddy and I do have a little bit of an issue with, but we kind of get it. Yeah, kind of get it on that one. Where was I? Yeah, so now what they have, what they've done on this figure is they've put a Union Jack or a Union flag from the UK on her arm, and I'm assuming it is the narrative of they may be from different countries, but they work for the British or the United Kingdom's action force team, if you know what I'm saying. Do you get what I mean? What I mean here. So even though she's rocking a Union Jack, it's really just for the team that she operates at, for the team that she operates out of. Obviously, it'd be really cool if they'd given her a Swiss flag. I think that would have been amazing, and that would have really opened a little bit even more and shown a bit of an homage and added like another little added extra of something that would be like a really nice homage to the figure. But I get it. I get that they are doing a sort of thing where it's like, there's a team in the UK and they're from lots of different parts of the globe, but they operate as a team in the UK, and that's totally fair. That's fine. Okay, I get it. But yeah, Paddy noticed that immediately and messaged me, and we were like, "Oh man." But again, it's totally cool, and even though I wouldn't say that they don't know that, they're probably just working with a narrative of this. They're working with a narrative of it's out of that particular area, and the homage is, I mean, it was from the UK, wasn't it? So you know, and the Club Quarrel did have a Union Jack as well. That's very true, Max. So I guess from that point of view, is they were probably looking at that, using that as well as a basis for what they were doing on this figure too. And it's always obviously that recency bias, I call it a lot of the time, where you have designs that kind of mimic things where we've had it recently. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, and Big Ben has a Union Jack, but RKW, he's from there. He's from Burford. So Big Burford Ben. So yeah. Like I said, I think the narrative is that Big Ben, Quarrel, let's even throw, well, obviously not Tiger Force Outback. He's technically there, but like I feel like that is what's happening, and they're from that team that operate out of the United Kingdom, which is, again, that's cool. That's cool. Right then. We just talked about this, Leon. We don't know technically what the narrative is if she is Swiss. She is obviously she's from Interlaken, Switzerland originally, but I'm guessing that they're either doing, like I said, the team is British and the core of the characters are from all over the place. But I think that's where they're going with the narrative. But we don't know yet. We'll have to ask. In fact, I'll just ask Lenny that when we're on the next interview. How about that? Let's do that. Let's make that a question. I'll be like, how come you gave her a Union flag instead of a blooming Swiss one? A Swiss Jack. I'm just kidding. I don't know what the Switzerland flag is called. If it's got a name, I'm sure it has. I was typing without listening. Sorry, it's okay. It's totally cool. Oh, yes, that'd be cool if they did a file card Friday with her on socials, Paul. Yes, that would be awesome. I'm looking out for that for tomorrow. Anyway, let's move through, because obviously there's some beautiful promo images. Again, I'm assuming Shooting the Galaxy. Still haven't heard yet, and I will reach out again just to see if that's a possibility. But it would be nice if we could get that interview soon with Shooting the Galaxy, Matt. Anyway, here's a really nice one of the two of them next to each other, rocking the weapons. And then she's actually utilizing one of the weapons that technically comes with Falcon, but I don't think it's really that big a deal. The way that these sets kind of operate, it's they write it in the copy sometimes who gets what, but for the most part, you just mix and match, guys. It's funsies. Unless it's like literally one that attaches to them, like a sheath or a holster or something like that, then I don't really think it matters. You can just go nuts. Um, it is a bad A double hockey sticks image, isn't it, Jeremy? Um, yeah, lovely stuff. Nice set indeed. So yeah, there we go. We got Falcon and Quarrel. I keep wanting to. It's funny. I keep wanting to say Glenda. It's so annoying. I love the fact that they've all got different head sculpts as well. By the way, I know that's like friggin' basic level, but the amount of times over the years that action figure lines have just reutilized the same heads for certain figures, and being different characters has always kind of made me a little bit like it's a bit lazy. I get it. I see what they're doing. They're doing that kind of homage where they're literally, you know, repainting it as because that was the case back in the day. But in this particular line, I love the fact that everyone gets an individual head sculpt, and that is very important, I think. And it's just been really good to get like again, you've got effectively you've got Retro Scarlet, you've got Glenda, and you've got Quarrel, but there's differences about them to such a degree that they can be clearly differentiated between, and that's the main kind of thing that I was hoping for. But man, I didn't think for a second Quarrel was going to happen. I didn't think we were going to see Quarrel ever. Genuinely, I didn't think it was going to happen. Like maybe like in the future after like a lot of characters have been kind of covered, and you know Glenda's already out now with the drag. Well, going to be out soon with the Dragonfly. Retro Scarlet's already out, so it's like I felt like there's probably going to be some time before we come back to this mold. No, no, and when I say mold, there's only like parts of it that are retro Scarlet, but you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. Just great, just brilliant, fantastic. There's another good shot of the two of them. This time, Falcon's got his night vision goggles. He's nicked his launcher back, and they're holding their alternate heads like helmets. But yeah, it's they're not helmets. They're just holding two apparently decapitated Steel Corps members right now. Amazing. Um, uh, anyway, yeah. So there's that, and then again, simple images at the moment, just kind of like some nice, sexy kind of backlit. You know what I'm saying? Like some kind of classic, kind of just simple shots going on. Bit of an explosion going on to the right there, maybe in the background a little bit. But yeah. Yeah, Jeffrey says, yeah, just leave that tool in the machine. Yeah, just keep them coming. Different versions of Scarlet, different repaints of Scarlet. Thank you very much. I'm now talking about Scarlet now. I'm gonna have to bust this figure out. This is gonna have to come out, not on stream, obviously, because I've got ages. Sorry, it'll take me ages, and I don't have that much time. Ninja Force Scarlet has to happen, but not a repaint. We need a Ninja Force Scarlet completely new figure, and I would love that HoloNet one. And then moving along, you've got the action shot of them like kind of hot footing it across this very. I think they're in some sort of cavernous kind of area, aren't they? Because they do come across a few bad guys in a second, which we'll talk about. Also, I like the fact that Quarrel's rocking Falcon's backpack in this one. It's like they really are just sharing all the gear, and I love it. I love the fact they've utilized her fist to do the kind of like hold motion, like they're coming up to like slow down to like drop down. I think that's this image is great. But I love the fact that they're moving that stuff around. They're moving the gear around certainly for who's wearing what. Yeah, great stuff. And then here's another good shot of her, absolutely gorgeous head sculpt. And yeah, a nice kind of shot of her about to literally take you out with a crossbow bolt. That is heading straight for my forehead, isn't it? Like, thanks, I'm out. Thanks, see you later. Don't come again. Yeah, lovely stuff. What else was I going to say? I think that's pretty much it. Moving on. Now we get the Steel Core implementation here. And a couple of people did comment, is this the same Steel Core kind of 2-pack that we saw in the Iron Grenadiers images? No, it is not. It's completely different deco and color scheme. Completely different in actual fact. I shall prove it shortly. But yeah, this is a nice shot of them kind of on like some sort of mountainous kind of scenario. And this is them fighting on rats. There's a leg there. I've only just noticed that. I didn't notice that before, but there's a leg just, and then a bit of a mole rat drag, like Terminatoring, doing that whole like dragging the whole body along sort of thing. Amazing stuff. Um, as I grew up in the UK in the 80s and collected Action Force, I'm all over this, says Punking. Yeah, samesies. I need every color of the rainbow for the ferret, including chartreuse, says Stygian. Nice. Probably the best 2-pack yet, says Jason. Yeah, I mean, there's some good stuff out there and some good 2-packs, including one of my favorites, the Steel Core 2-pack is great. But, you know, this is so cool. And there's so many cool things about this. The fact that this set does so many different things, it fixes the only real lingering problem in the line in terms of design with Falcon. It adds so many different things. Like we get a new character that is obviously the homage to the Palatoy 1984 Quarrel. The fact that these two work so well together from a deco standpoint as well. It just makes so much sense when you see them together, for me anyway. And that's something that I've got to say, I'm really impressed with their decision making on this, especially when I thought we were going to be seeing Night Force Heart Wrencher. So happy that wasn't the case. Genuinely, it seemed like such a weird decision. So this makes so much sense. Yes, Paul. Same vibe. I'm also glad they didn't release a 2-pack with a Joe versus Cobra situation. They should make an accessory pack that's just extra mole rat heads with variations on the energon placement. That's not a bad idea, Ryan. That's not a bad idea. Or do a different mole rat in the future, or like not kind of a variant, but you don't want to put out another almost exactly the same figure. So you can change it up a little bit. But yeah, let's get a different head so that there's a different vibe going on. Would be really cool. Maybe even like some sort of filthy 3-pack or 2-pack, so like troop builder set. Do you really need a Z-Force RAM cycle now, Detective Dirty? Yeah, JK. Okay, cool. We've got like 50 RAMs. Just use the green one or the Night Pursuit, which is what I'm going to do. I'm definitely using the Night Pursuit with Quarrel. Now, here, for those of you that were wondering or commenting, are these the same as that we saw in the Iron Grenadiers images? As you can see, no, completely different. This is like what looks to be almost straight up steel core design, completely different deco. We're talking that kind of like purpley blue color, the green and the gold very clearly on those 3 images. You can see very clearly what's going on. And if you look at if you just look at the one on the right in comparison, it is a completely different deco going on. And yeah, it's just a completely different vibe, totally. So yeah. Glenda is from Mission Brazil. No, she is not, HoloNet. Glenda is a Argentinian single carded release from, like, forget the year now. Was it 80? I can't remember what year it was. Someone will tell me in the comments. But yeah, she was not. Glenda was not from Mission Brazil, I'm afraid. Mission Brazil was, let me see if I can remember off the top of my head, Claymore, wetsuit, leatherneck, dial tone, and mainframe, and a tape cassette, which is awesome. Listen to it if you haven't listened to it. Go on 3D Joe's and just listen to the tape. It's great. Maybe we get that Steel Core Trooper in a Dragonfly support team box. Could do, Sean. I don't see that. That's not a crazy idea. Obviously, we've got a few listings that float around that could. Well, we've got one listing at the moment that could be that 2-pack. It's the Whip Snakes one, which I still think it makes the most sense that that's what it's going to be. So we'll see, basically, won't we? We'll find out eventually. Is that everything? Yeah, that is. The next slide we were just going to say. So next week we're going to have lots of cool stuff. So next week we've got Walmart Collecticon on the 25th. So that's when the Night Force, Falcon, and Quarrel, nearly said Glenda again, go up for pre-order. As I said before, I'm almost certain, because this has happened with every single thing they've ever done, it will be in small, limited quantities on Pulse, and I assume just for premium members, because they sell out pretty quick. And then, I'm not sure if they've never done that thing where they split it to have some for premium members and some for regular release. I don't think that's ever happened, has it? I don't think it has. But anyway, yeah, so we got that, and of course we've got the HasLab reveal. Now, there's a lot of discourse as to when that's actually happening, and it doesn't matter at the end of the day. It's going to be Thursday, whether it's 11 a.m. or 8 p.m. It's going to be Thursday that it drops. I would imagine they start at 11 with the live stream. Is my guess. I don't know for sure, but I just guessed that. It just makes sense for them to do a pre-recorded video with all of the video stuff and the video bits, because that's how they usually do HasLabs, with video accompaniment and all that kind of stuff. They very rarely do it in, for G.I. Joe. They haven't done it to this point where they've just revealed it at SDCC and done it that way. So yeah, it's going to be, I imagine, in the live stream. That doesn't mean it will definitely happen that way. It's very possible they could do the reveal for the panel at SDCC, but it just feels like that might be the case for the live stream. We'll see. I guess we'll definitely find out on Thursday, in 1 week. And I'm telling you, weeks go rapid now. I feel like weeks have changed as I've got older to minutes. Like a minute now is a millisecond. An hour might as well not be, is about 5 minutes. And yeah, this is how I feel life is moving now. Actually, that's a good point to make. Actually, I did see a few people kind of get a bit concerned about the fact that because the 2-pack Shakur is a Walmart exclusive, is that going to make it difficult to get hold of in the UK? Well, they'll be up on Pulse UK, but because everything goes up on Pulse, doesn't it? Sort of, not necessarily on the day, but it gets there. I would expect this set just to be on Pulse, pretty standard issue. And if you can't get it through Pulse, I'm sure other independents will probably be able to get some of these as well in some way, shape, or form. So you can always try that direction as well. Shout out In Demand Toys, shout out Kapow Toys, and anyone else out there doing it in the old Blighty. Stanley says, I assume HasLab launch in early stream, so it can be on floor display as the doors open at SDCC. That's my assumption as well. How fast will the base goal fund this HoloNet one? That's a good point. It depends on a lot of things, doesn't it? It depends, first off, that instant reaction. How is it looking? Is it amazing enough to blow your pants away or off completely? Is it got the things that you want? Has it got the tiers that people want? Has it got a price point that feels at least worth what you're getting into? And is it is it a reasonable backer amount? I guess I don't think that really comes into it a lot of the times. It's not like I look at the back account and go, oh, I'm not getting involved in this, I'll never make it. That's not something that really goes through my mind. I'll be looking at it going, yep. No matter what it is. Didn't they unveil the Star Wars Ghost HasLab after the doors opened at SDCC last year? Yeah, I think so. I think it was done at SDCC. But again, that's Star Wars. This is different. It's G.I. Joe, isn't it? It might very well be the case that they, again, I kind of think it's sort of irrelevant. For us as consumers, it's going to be out there on Thursday, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Like, we'll get the opportunity. It'll be out. It'll be there on Thursday, whether it's first thing in the morning or last thing in the day. It's going to be available. I assume like crazy that it'll be in the morning, but I could be wrong, and they could reveal it at SDCC. They've said both things. Well, no, actually, that's not true. Have they said it? Yeah, hang on. What does the blurb say for the live stream? That's something I need to just double check quickly, because I don't recall if they said anything regarding the live stream that explained if the HasLab was getting mentioned. Because if that's the case, then we know for sure, don't we? Yeah, it just says that usual stuff, doesn't it? Which annoyingly, did I not put I did put a link into it. Okay, I'll be able to find out now in a second. Here we go. Okay. Oh, hang on. What's going on here? I want to see more about the text, please. Oh, it doesn't. It's weird. Like it has some blurb and then just stops. Does anyone else have that? Does it open up to anyone else, the blurb? I just get Thursday, July 25th at 11 a.m. ET. Join the G.I. Joe team on the Hasbro Pulse YouTube channel at 11 a.m. ET for product reveals, pre-orders, and more. Dot. It's like stops after don't, like cuts the T off don't. Don't. And then when I click on it, it just takes me to the YouTube channel. So that doesn't help me. I can't. There's no more. I can't like expand it or anything. Maybe if I didn't know, it doesn't work either. Okay, I'm just being a proper boomer at the moment looking at that. I'll go ahead and say it doesn't mention specifically the HasLab on there, but they do specifically mention launching the HasLab at SDCC. So it could be very likely that the morning live stream is for periphery things like, I'm just going to go out on a limb and say Road Pig and Pitbull, Raptor, and other stuff, maybe, to, so that's ready to go at SDCC, and then they reveal the HasLab at SDCC. Just, it's a possibility. I don't know. They could do like the name onlys and some render reveals. It's funny when you say render reveals, it almost sounds like gender reveals, and that's something completely different. So yeah, I don't know. I think that it could go either way at this rate. It could go either way. But I would be surprised if we don't see anything regarding the HasLab. Maybe it's at the end of the video and they play the and now it's time to reveal the HasLab, and here's the special promotional thing that goes along with it. Like, here's a little message from Cobra Commander himself, kind of thing, Render reveal party. We should start calling it that. We should start calling it that, shouldn't we, Scott? Okay, we're going to do a digital render reveal party. Maybe I should just call that. That's what I'm literally calling the next video with render reveals. It's going to be digital render reveal party. It's going to be amazing. Anyway, so that's that. Stanley says, question, who is in charge of updating the socials HasLab as tier unlocks in real time? Could you check with Lenny? Who is in charge of updating the socials for the tier unlocks in real time? Well, that's okay. So all of that stuff is predetermined and then would be a technical issue. It would be a team working on that, and wouldn't be in Lenny's hands. Lenny wouldn't necessarily touch that. That's going to be BMAC or Emily, but also they're just going to be saying, we want to put this out here. And then it would be done by the team, the digital marketing team that are putting that stuff together. So effectively, there's a team that works on the socials. There's a team that works on the technical aspect of Hasbro Pulse. It's all different groups and people that are working on this stuff any one time. Anyway, that's that. So yeah, SDCC coming next week. Is everyone excited? I'm sure they are. Crap, you've been on an hour already. I need to start from the beginning. Sorry, Evan. Good luck. Yeah, so the listings are looking like this now, and I fixed it. I made it better. So Night Force Falcon and Night Force Quarrel sit there as HB Zorak. I got half of it right. That counts, doesn't it, for something? And there's that Whip Snakes 2-pack, which I still think is very likely possibly that Steel Core Commander sort of 2-pack thing going on. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's no other changes as yet. It will be changed if any other mistakes are made, but at the moment it's just one thing on there, really, I think. Yeah. Anyway, and also, as far as we know, Starduster is still the PulseCon exclusive. As far as we know, that could change possibly. It might be different, but as far as we are aware, Stardust is the PulseCon exclusive. We don't know any different though at the moment. Now, and we still haven't heard of anything from the 60th, so we might be getting 60th information during SDCC as well. Fingers crossed, because it's been a long time since we got these, hasn't it? We need more of these 60th. These are freaking amazing. And I still haven't bust these open either. I know I'm terrible. I'm so slow with it. Anyway, that's that. Yeah, 50% is still a pass. Thank you, Leon. Appreciate that. And then, of course, we go on to the 2025 listings. And I have made a few updates here. For those who weren't aware, we do now know that if you go over to the right-hand side where it says exclusives and miscellaneous, and you go down to SP Philip, 3 down, and 4 down GG Hudson, we do know now that those two are specifically, SP Philip is Target exclusive, so that's what SP means, I imagine, going forward. And GG Hudson is a Walmart exclusive. So we know that that's the case with those two particular figures, right? We also have their TT Sewer Urchin as a Fanmazon exclusive. Not Fanmazon exclusive, just a Fanmazon release. Fanmazon release. TT Terror Pulse, American Made Pulse. Arthur Deluxe is the SDCC listing, as far as we're aware. I don't know if that's going to change like it did last year. Man Cow is Pulse. Red Scare is Pulse. Dinosaur Neil is Pulse. And CS Legacy RR Tommy is a 60th release. So that's what we know so far with 2025 and the exclusives and miscellaneous. And the rest is all very self-explanatory. They are the retail waves of 4 on the left-hand side and the retro classified on the bottom. We do know a lot of this list, but we can't say anything yet. And it is driving me mad because I want to talk about this so bad. There are so many cool things coming. It is unreal. Yeah, but we'll have to just play the game on this one, which is agonizing, I know, but all I can say is we are in for one hell of a 2025. Right. What else? I think that's pretty much it. Then we've got the name of updated name only reveals as well. We've removed Night Force Falcon off there now that he exists in reality. So we're down to 8 that we haven't seen digital renders for. But we're very likely going to see some of this, I think, over SDCC, either at the live stream or in the panel or both, or, you know, whatever. But yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of these revealed. I would hazard a guess that we won't see a couple like, I think, Frag Viper. What was the other one? Maybe Blowtorch. Yeah, Frag Viper, Blowtorch, and Footloose might be the ones we don't see because they're a bit further along in the process. As in, they're not further along in the process. They're pushed further in time, so they're further away from us in terms of the process. So I could see Starduster, Leatherneck. Obviously, it sounds like Road Pig and Raptor are getting full on like pre-order situations going on based on the leak recently, and could imagine us seeing Xandar as a render, but we'll see. I guess we'll definitely see. Mad Marauders Footloose ? Flaffle? No, it's regular Footloose, but I could imagine seeing Mad Marauders Footloose at some point in the future. 100%. What if Whip Snakes is a 2-pack female Vipers? That would be amazing. Soda Commando would be amazing. It could be anything at this stage. I mean, we're just working on what we can see and what is the most likely. And the most likely at the moment as a 2-pack would be a Steel Core Commander 2-pack based on what we saw in the promo images for the Iron Grenadiers. But that's really just, again, it's speculation based on what we're seeing and based on precedent where they've done fun little things like that in the past with Easter eggs in images and so on and so forth. They may show Xandar, but no one will remember, says Scott. Yes, indeed. Yeah, we can't see. Xandar's not on the screen. I don't know what you're even talking about. Who's Xandar? Who's Zidzad? I've already forgotten the name. Right, so that is name only reveals. And of course, the only digital renders we have at the moment are Dialtone and Saw Viper. So who knows? Maybe we'll be seeing some kind of well, again, I don't think we'll see these figures in real form or like, kind of like physical form. They might have them in, but that's the thing. It's SDCC. They might have them in the display cabinet as like upcoming pre-order sort of things, in the future. So that's a possibility, isn't it? That's kind of fun to be excited about. I'm mentioning it now out loud because I know that that is a possibility. They've done that kind of stuff in the past. Yeah, so we could very well see those in the cabinet, but it'll probably be more like Road Pig, Raptor, um, the Dragonfly figures. I'm trying to think if there's any other stuff out there like Night Force, Falcon, and Quarrel will be there, no doubt, on show. Yeah, yeah. So it's a possibility that Dial Tone and Saw Viper could be in that kind of conversation. Anyway, that is everything. I'm going to switch to my face, and we'll finish the episode in like a Q&A kind of situation. All right, let's do it. Paul's just written skid mark. That's nice. Right then, getting a few. Let's get a few comments in before I go. Just getting on, and I'm sorry I'm late, but how about that Quarrel figure, says Checkpoint Alpha. Yes, indeed. How about that Quarrel figure? Phenomenal. Such a cool surprise. Didn't know about it, wasn't expecting it. So happy. Can't even tell you how happy I'm about it. Saw Viper taking out all the Joe in the cabinet. Scott, could you? That'd be horrible, wouldn't it? Especially if you had Doc. Like, I know Quick Kick didn't die by the Saw Viper machine gun, but he's still in that period of time. So, I mean, like, a few minutes later or hours later or what have you. So yeah, Doc. There's a few obviously they haven't made yet, like Heavy Metal, Crankcase. God, I feel bad for not remembering who was in that blooming pit. Oh, now I feel bad. Who else was in that pit? I want to say Thunder. Was Thunder in there? Guys, who was in the pit that the Saw Viper? So it was Doc, Crankcase, Heavy Metal, Thunder. I said Thunder. Who else? Quick Kick was in there, but he didn't die. Was Falcon in there? Lest we forget. Oh, I forgot. Indeed. Now I feel terrible. I said Doc. Come on, help me out, guys. This is how I crowdsource. This is my Kickstarter right here. This is my HasLab. Was Duke in there? How did I forget that? Breaker. Falcon wasn't in there. Thank you. Check one up. Breaker, yes. Crazy Legs. Yes. And Quick Kick, Crazy Legs, and Breaker died in the rage. Yes. Cross Country also was in there. Was he? Was Cross Country in there? I don't remember Cross Country being in there. Crazy Legs and Breaker died in the explosion. Duke, Falcon, and Cross Country survived. Okay, cool. So I guess the Q is for Quick Kick. So it's Quick Kick, Crazy Legs, and Breaker died in the explosion. Dude, Falcon, and Cross Country survived. And who died? Doc, Heavy Metal, Crankcase, Breaker. No, Breaker was in the explosion. Crazy Legs wasn't there. Oh, he wasn't there at all. Okay, right. Okay, but he did die later. And Cross Country died afterwards. Yeah. Thunder. Thank you, guys. I keep forgetting Thunder exists. Even though I said it, I then forgot it. The Xandar of G.I. Joe. No, I really love Thunder, and I would love to see him at some point. Sidian says, Chris, I see you more often than I see my mother. Get that fixed. Get that fixed right away. Yeah, Crazy Legs died in benzene. Dusty carried him back to base. No, that's Sneak Peek, Viper Scout. So everyone's just giving me the wrong information about everything. Crazy Legs, yeah, it wasn't the one that Dusty carried. Sneak Peek was the one Dusty carried. But I want to say Crazy Legs was definitely killed in that period at some point anyway. Sorry, I just went completely silent. There are going to be people listening to this back and going, "How come it's just gone silent now?" Might have to edit that out. Sorry about that, guys. I just had an absolute multitasking fail there. But yeah, I was actually asking a question to the GI Joe team as to whether I just wanted to confirm that they were alternate heads as opposed to helmets on the steel core, and they are alternate heads. That was all. I was just asking that question. And I was just reading back what had been said back, and that was literally it. Alt heads, smiley face. I don't know why it took me so long to compute that. Yeah, it was a bit of vehicle driver wipeout, wasn't it? The Saw Viper. Saw Viper killed Doc, Crankcase, Thunder, and Heavy Metal. Breaker, Crazy Legs, and Quick Kick died in Rage. Duke, Falcon, and Cross Country survived that encounter. Thank you, Ryan, for the clearing up of all of that. Those masks are Toit. Which ones? The steel core things. What are you talking about? So are you having a conversation with someone else here? You probably are. I need HasLab Rolling Thunder, says HoloNet One. That would be huge, and I'd be there for it all day long. It'd be so good. It would be so good. Yeah. Is it the only way we're getting an armadillo, as in the driver? I think it is, isn't it? Cool Breeze did die a few issues later. You're right, Ryan. Yep. Sneak Peek and most of BF2K died on the issue after that. Yep. Thank you. Again, a bit more clearing. I was only really asking about the pit. That's the only thing I was confused about. I couldn't remember who got sprayed in the actual pit that the Saw Viper just rinsed. But I do remember Doc getting it, like, you know, so harsh, like right there, gun in face. Or that was dark, man. That was real dark. Oh, from Battle Force 2000. Thank you, Stygian. Yep, you're right. They are cool. Chris, will Hasbro dump the entire icon on the classified line since there's no website explaining it? What, the icons? Yeah, they seem to be like there forever for no matter what. He says, looking at a box that doesn't have it. Yeah, they seem to be there like forever, and they're not going anywhere. But you're right, they don't have that same kind of key knocking about anymore, do they? I do have a bunch of what's the word? Like an actual like screenshots of the key that someone sent me ages ago. That I have been. I can't think right now and what is wrong with me. But yeah, that's how I keep an eye on what those actual specialties still are. We should know them all by now as well, shouldn't we? We should just be able to look at them and go, oh, that's good at stamp collecting, ninja skills, skills in general, that sort of stuff. Hydro Viper's time has come. Yes, armadillo and a classified armadillo, 2 for the price of 1. Rachel, I am your icon key, says Scott. Yeah, Scott, was it you that sent me them? Might be. You usually do put them in the chat when I start struggling with them, so thank you for that. 15 Joes in total died during that story arc, 109 to 114. Thank you, Ryan, for even more clarity on that. Are we going to get 2 packs of Sword Down Joes a la Transformers the movie sets with death damage? Craig, that would be really harsh, wouldn't it? I can't see that happening, but I still can't believe they did that with Transformers as well. Time for an Ore Striker, says Flaffle. I'll tell you now, if we don't see that by 2025, I'll be very surprised. I think that is an almost certain, highly iconic mid-range retail vehicle for sure. I say retail, you know what I mean? A non-HasLab vehicle is what I should say, or Pulse exclusive vehicle. I think that is almost certainly going to happen. Don't most fans hate Cobra La? Why would Once a Man CC sell out? Damn, that is a generic. I mean, that's a statement. I don't think most fans hate it. I think there's a large vocal group. So there's a vocal group that aren't fans of it, like everything, but they also don't like a ton of other things that have happened that have sold out instantly. Do you know what I mean? Like the CC is going to sell out for multiple reasons. 1, 6-inch, it trumps a lot of things. 2, the fact that it is a very like cool looking figure. It hasn't happened officially before, and it is a it's one of those things that carries a bit of nostalgia with distance away from it. So even if you weren't a fan like as a kid, or you weren't really into it, but you saw it as a kid, when it comes back around to like this time period and that amount of time has gone by, there's going to be a bit of like, ooh, like kind of sparking the nostalgia thing. So I think that's going to have a key to it as well. But more than anything else, it's classified and it's going to be difficult. It's not going to be easy to get hold of. Those two things create instant FOMO. It doesn't matter what it is. Like if it's difficult to get hold of, it's going to sell out. Trust me. I just can't see any other thing that's going to happen with that. And not just because I really, really want it. I can't read those icons. Neither can I. They're too small most of the time. Chris, can I see a surprise mainline vehicle announcement before the end of the year, says Johnny, or asks Johnny, can I see a surprise mainline vehicle announcement? Can I? I don't think I can. No, I'm just trying to think of the listings now. I should have them up on screen. It's a lot easier when those questions come in and I can see it on screen. But I don't think there'll be a mainline vehicle release at the end of this year. I don't know. Is there? Maybe? I don't know. I can't think. What's in those listings? I don't think we have anything like that, do we? We just have well, we've got PulseCon coming up. I think that's gonna be a significant one, and maybe there'll be something there. But we don't. What I'm saying is we don't really have any information that I can think of for this year that's going to be mainline vehicle, but there could be. I don't see why not, and it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me. Still waiting for the burned out husk of Wheeljack and Windcharger. That was dark as well, Scott, in the Transformers movie, when you see them like being dragged like on the floor, like that close up of them, and it's just like, oh man, I like Wheeljack and Windcharger. I had Windcharger as a kid, and I had Mirage. And I think, does Mirage die off screen? I think Mirage dies off screen, but then a lot of them did, didn't they? Mirage might die on screen. I can't even remember now. I've seen that so many times. I've even seen it twice in theaters. I love that movie. I can't think off the top of my head how Mirage does or doesn't make it though. Eco Striker with Flint would be amazing, yes. Ore Striker seems like the next step beyond the Vamp, so I totally understand you. Yep, I feel that way, Flaffle, definitely. Sean says, need Action Man to make our UK brothers feel more comfortable. Actually, that would be cool because we have had Action Man figures in the 4-inch line as well, including the sub team Action Man. I think it was. I always get confused because his orange top and the tiger stripe paint that he's got on his face kind of makes him look like Tiger Force, even though he's Night Force. But yeah, that would be really cool. The Night Force Action Man would be sensational. And I remember those kind of cancelled Action Man figures from the 50th as well, because I managed to get one of those. The kind of Arctic jacket one that was with the Action Man logo on the arm. Love it. Love that figure. Yeah, didn't make it to production, but a few of them went out. Quite a lot more than a few. It felt like there was a lot of those figures kind of knocking about, but still nice to get one of those in hand. FOMO will do it, Stanley. Absolutely. Recognition plus time equals nostalgia. Yep. I think a lot of people have come back around to Cobra La over the years, says Paul. Yeah, I think that's definitely happened. It feels that way because I've seen more love than I have hate for it in general. I'll see the occasional comment of like, oh, I hate Cobra La. Why are we doing this? And then I'll see, about 10 people going, that Cobra Commander's amazing. So yeah, I don't know if that's the one on that one. There is a small vocal group who hammer on about not liking Cobra La. They're also usually the same people who say they are waiting to pick everything up on clearance. To a degree, I think X Factors, there's an element of that sometimes. Stygian says, other than Matt Damon Falcon, that's a bit harsh on Matt Damon, there hasn't been a bad classified. OAMCC will be desirable for that reason alone. Night Force Action Man and Short Fuse 2-pack. I like it, said Jeremy. The Snake CC to wrap around RB is why I want it, but I love the movie anyway, says Viper Scout. That's the thing in it, really. I'm difficult to get hold of, but no one misses me, says Leon. That's not true, Leon. If you weren't in the comments, I'd miss you. I was not a fan of Cobra La, but the Once a Man CC has never been done, and because of that, I want it. You see, there's other aspects to this than other than you can hate something and then still be like, God, I want that. Thunder Machine question mark? No clue. No clue. Haven't heard hide nor hair of that since the early rumors from a while back. So we're keeping that one to what it is, effectively, as a rumor. But you never know. Maybe the Thunder Machine and Snowcat hit us right at the end of the year, and everyone's like, oh, "How do we do this?" Yeah, FOMO is going to kick in hard on Once a Man Cobra Commander, says Talib. SDCC 2023, they showed Vamp. They did, yeah. Maybe, you never know. Maybe they'll show something. We don't, like I said, we don't have a listing for anything. That doesn't mean anything because, as you well know, we don't always get every single listing known, and we don't always get the details of those listings completely correct, as has been the case with let's go through the mistakes recently this year. Thinking that Raptor was SDCC, being told that it was, but it looks more likely that it's coming out around SDCC as opposed to being an SDCC exclusive. So I'll just claim that was the error. What's the other one? There was another one. There was another mistake recently. Someone will let me know in the comments what it was. Can't remember what it was though now. But anyway, yeah, we're not 100% all the time. We do well. We're up in the 90s. We're still in we're like that kind of like eBay account that you're still like, it's still good. It's like 97, 98% good feedback. Mirage went to a farm upstate. Yeah, did he? Ever think about getting a 3D printer? I have and haven't. I'd rather just get people that have them and pay for them to give me stuff like that. But I don't really do a lot of 3D printing in all honesty, Renegade Biker. Short Fuse, Zap and Flash soon, says Stygian. Yeah, I think they've got to be on the list, haven't they? They've got to be at some point. We've got to see those kind of names appear somewhere. Dr. X and Professor Gangrene. Sean, now you're talking my language. Could we get a classified toxic gut Dr. X where you turn it upside down and it just goes blah, blah, blah. That'd be so awesome. Andrew says, I wonder whose Wild Weasel is going to be better, classified or Skeletron. I like that. That's fun. I like that. That's cute. Fresh Monkey will be having Action Man heads for sale. Yes, I did see that, RKW. Yeah, those kind of adventure team sort of Action Man heads. They look great. Before they do an Ore Striker, I would prefer a Skyhawk or Sharks as shelf presents. I think they're all on the table, though, aren't they? I think we'll get all three of those at some stage eventually. Has anyone asked Emily how she feels about SDCC exclusive quantities? Chuckles worked out okay in 2023. Is Emily open to a second run of Once a Man if it sells out like they did with Mindbender? The thing is, that's not technically, believe it or not, that's not technically Emily's job. That's not her. I know to some degree there might be an element of feedback going through her to fans and stuff. Sorry, from fans through her to the company and everything. But in terms of quantities, that's actually technically another department that deals with that aspect of it. Yeah. So the team that you see are the face of the brand, but they certainly don't cover all of the different aspects of the company. And the company itself makes the decisions on those sort of things with quantities. Now, if they get that feedback or if they see that, oh my God, that sold out really quick and we don't have any more, then there's a conversation to be had within the team about increasing the quantities. But again, it's not, do you know what I mean? It's not Emily, like they're seeing that information, that data, but it's then how the company reacts to that, not how Emily is she open to a second. Do you know what I mean? It's not up to her at the end of the day. It's like I said, that is a company above them decision at the end of the day. I am sure they are up for anything that pleases fans genuinely, as the team, like Lenny, Tony, Emily, all the front customer facing, fan facing team members are 100% want the fans to be happy about stuff. They don't want them to be upset. They don't want to, screw them over in any way, shape, or form. And I think in that sense, they have probably done, the company's probably done made a lot of decisions based on previous data regarding this SDCC exclusives. I don't know what those numbers are. They don't make that known. So we'll only really see it from an online point of view, won't we? When people are people struggling to get this? Is it a lot of people? Like, that's going to be one of those things after the fact, I think, Stanley. But yeah, and I'm guaranteed though they're looking at that and they're aware of it. If you've thought about it, or if it's been mentioned, and it's been mentioned a lot of times in like forums or on Facebook, or it's been commented at 50 trillion times by different people on social posts and what have you, they're seeing that information, they're gathering it, they're getting information together, and they're creating, responses to that. Problem is as well, when you're talking about a company that has multiple departments, that even if they work really well together, is going to be discrepancies in, some of the things that some of the people have their hands in, whether they are totally knowledgeable about the brand or the characters or what the fans want, etc., compared to information and data that's come through. Someone might look at it in that team and go, they might not have a real grasp of GI Joe, and they might look at that data that comes in and they'll say, oh, loads of people want Cobra Commanders, let's keep doing that. And obviously, to a degree, it has made sense, but obviously doing them a certain way has also made sense, and not just doing a churning out a repaint over and over again. But the data might suggest that this figure's doing really well and it's just been a repaint. So they might go, right, let's just do a lot more of that, or we'll allow a lot more of that. And the design team then have that constraint, or that constricting sort of fence around them a little bit to have to work and operate in. So yeah, I'd suggest that just bear in mind that some of these questions or some of these thoughts might not be directly related to the job that a lot of these guys that we know do. Like, Emily's effectively marketing, she's also planning right now for SDCC. That's what she's doing. That's what she does. And then there's that sort of like, well, it was originally, but isn't as much anymore. Kind of like almost like a customer facing sort of figure. But that really isn't the case at the moment. She's definitely more, especially since she's not on Instagram anymore, she's not really dealing with that kind of like direct fan communication. So again, like, I think, and the same thing when Lenny gets asked certain questions about stuff, I kind of feel like sometimes I think, I bet they just want to scream inside sometimes, because it's one of those things where they don't really have control over a lot of aspects with the company. They can pass that information on, but who's to say they're not already saying that until they're red in the face or blue in the face, or what, Cobra or GI Joe Kickstarter book cover, whatever color face they've got in that sense. Who's to say they're not already thinking about this and saying that and asking it over and over again? Some things are dictated by other powers, unfortunately, and you can't really do much about that. God, that got a bit weird and deep, didn't it? Sorry. Skybound has given Cobra La a positive spin, Rachel. Yes, indeed. That might be a good point as to why it's gone up a little bit in the cool factor recently. Want a better Roadblock version 2 to go with the snake? That's a good point, Leon. What if the HasLab is a Cobra La insect jet? That'd be amazing. Right, Steps Toys, that noise that it makes when it shoots the weird vines. Shut down by a salad. Yeah, that would be great. I want I want that giant, like, squidgy, like, floating, what even is it? Giant squidgy floating, like, it looks like some sort of human organ, doesn't it? It looks like some sort of bodily organ floating through the sky with tassels at the bottom and like a friggin' mohawk, weird eyes. It screams when you pull on the. Oh God, that was weird. That is. I love that. Skybound has been amazing for G.I. Joe, just incredible. It has been, definitely. Scott says mistakes from this year, leaking the IG bat. Thanks for that. Thank you. Polar bear with Arctic steel core. Oh, you could do iceberg and just give him a steel core helmet, couldn't you? And then, that'd be wicked. Crazy Legs versus Steel Core Commander, HasLab pivot, as if. Want Zargon the space pirate? If Zargon, yeah, I do actually. Would he be in the Dreadnoks? Because is he going to be like a long lost relative of Zartan, Zarana, Xandar, and Zanya, and Zanzibar, who's just a cheeky Z name, but he's not related. But yeah, Zargon, that would be amazing. He's great, that figure, by the way. Action Man. That Falcon head sculpt is much needed upgrade. It is, Jason. I wish we knew the logistics people, says Step Toys. Yeah, me too. Promising some of those as retro release later would alleviate some of that. Yeah, indeed. Who can I scream at for the escape armor not being available in the UK? Oh God, yeah, that's more I think that might be more to do with Super 7 restrictions than Hasbro. Yeah, don't know. Genuinely don't know. And I'll ask that question, but I don't know if they can answer it like publicly. I don't know. We don't know. It's weird though, isn't it? That needs to be in the UK more than anything. Can't wait for the Falcon Quarrel 2-pack. Yep, same. Viper Scout says Zartan was the third release and he's ridiculous on the secondary market. Yeah, that was weird. I still don't understand that. Yorktown Joe says, I'm wondering if there's an actuary scientist with an algorithm to understand how many collectors pre-order at 5 places and then cancel after the first one delivers. I also know many people that multiple orders like that across different platforms and then forget, and they all come at once. So it can backfire, and not for Hasbro's point of view. That's a backfire for the customer. Jeremy says, I know Emily and John lurk my Facebook group, so they are watching social media. They certainly are. Andrew Davis, Once a Man Classified Cobra Commander is dope. You got to see the Once a Man custom by Mr. Home Arcade. It's awesome. He made it like in 3 days. I think I've seen that one, Andrew. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Who do we talk about getting Lenny, Tony, and Emily and BMAC in figure form, the real heroes of G.I. Joe? I like that, Scott. I don't think they're allowed to anymore. It used to be the case that you'd get everyone on a figure, like a head sculpt or a name in there and that kind of stuff. And then at some point, there was an issue. I believe the story goes, and this is, I think, publicly known. I'm not going to say names because, for one, I can't remember any of them. But I believe somebody left the company not in the best way. Like it was a bit like messy, or not. Not a good. When is it ever a good time or a good way to leave Hasbro when they're probably pushing you? You know what I mean? Anyway, that left. It was a bit rough, but that person that had left had a figure with a head sculpt on a figure, like a likeness, and I think a name maybe on a file card. And they, I think, sued the company because there wasn't anything legal in the contract that allowed them to do that, against their wishes, sort of thing. Like it had to be like signed off on, and they didn't want that figure to, exist anymore, and what have you. They wanted it down, and it became a big thing. So it became a legal issue that then Hasbro then had to not make up, but then say, the known likeness sort of thing doesn't relate to anybody. They were doing that early on anyway, but then I think they would, they were still getting like head sculpts from, actual people that work there, and putting names in the file names and everything. Now it's done. If it is done, it's done much more like on a stealth sort of way, and certainly not anything too obvious, unless there's a likeness situation in the case of Sergeant Slaughter. Or that's it, innit? Yeah, anyway, so yeah, that is that with that thing. Thank you for the long-winded quantity response. You're welcome, Stanley. I love that. That's the best. That's the best sort of like way to go, Chris. We get it. Shut up, mate. I love that. Um, I've missed some other stuff, haven't I? Shut down by a salad. Yeah, I love that line. Um, is it a globupod? The kidney pod? What for globulus? Wicked watermelon, thought Sean. Anyway, yeah, it's devolving, isn't it, into something else. Need Cobra Blast Citizen Cobra Commander. Yeah, that would be awesome. Night Force Cycle and Shockwave were here when I got off work today. Nice one, just under. Mine's got to be here soon. I don't know when that's turning up. Firefly says, sick of jumping through hoops for these figures. Why can't they just release and let people get them? Well, I think there's a lot to unpack there, isn't there, Firefly? I mean, let's look at it now. I think early on, a lot of the figures were difficult to get hold of, right? I think that has been alleviated. I think elements of the line now are very easy to get hold of. Multiple places they're offered, like where good toys are sold, all that kind of good stuff. So you have, where possible, the majority of the line is very easy to get hold of. I mean, you could just go into a GameStop and probably pick up a bunch of random figures right now, this second. You could probably go onto BBTS or Entertainment Earth or maybe even Hasbro Pulse in some figure situations and just order them straight away. Walmart and Target have still kind of given us a little bit of a runaround at certain times. But again, if you order it online, for the most part, they come now. Like we get them delivered. So I feel like they've made it easier, certainly for Target and Walmart. It was almost impossible to get those figures at one point. That has definitely changed. It's definitely changed. Is it perfect? No. But that is down to the fact that they're dealing with another company, a partner, a retail partner. It's not always simple. Again, it's like kind of like, moving a ship, right? You can't just go like, and you've done a 180 and you go in the other direction. If there's an error or something has to be changed, it's very difficult to get something done quickly when you're dealing big corporation to big corporation. It just takes time because there are so many other priorities for those companies that it's a mess basically. So I think in that sense they've definitely done a lot to improve that experience, right? Then on top of that, you get con exclusives, which in the past, again, have been difficult, sometimes exclusive, because that's what they are. They're con exclusives. They're for people that attend the convention. Like originally, that was the point. It was like conventions wanted them to get people to go to their convention. Like it's like getting all the cool stuff, and the only way you can get it is to come to SDCC. It's a great incentive. And if you have all of that, which they have, they've got like exclusives all over the place. Some people go and try and get all of them. Like, good luck, by the way, on that one. But yeah, with that, I would say like the entire line is effectively like almost certainly, if you want it, you'll be able to get it. And with the exclusive, the con exclusives, they're the only things that I think still carry that difficulty rating of trying to get hold of. Do you know what I mean? Thank you, Chris, for the response, but I'm talking about the exclusives like the Comic Con figures. Yeah. So like I feel like for one figure, or in this case, what's going to be two figures, one for SDCC, one for PulseCon, right? For two figures out of a line that is so massive, I don't think that's a bad return on exclusivity. Because if you think about in the past, not just for classified, but for all kind of lines, I remember when it was a lot more than that you'd struggle to get hold of. There'd be like store exclusives that would just be gone every time, every single time, and then you'd never get them replenished. And that's across the board for like Black Series, Marvel Legends, you name it. Do you know what I mean? Like that's just how it's been in the past. So I would say that from my personal experience, it hasn't been that difficult, but it has been at times, definitely, for sure. And now I think they've improved the way that you can get those figures each time as well, because I remember the Zartan one was really difficult to get hold of. The Serpentor one, well, not Serpentor, sorry, Dr. Mindbender, That was a weird one because I was genuinely like, oh, and that actually we got lucky with that because that's another good point. Bisto Yeti, I will address that in a second. I will definitely, that's a very good point. So the Dr. Mindbender was a weird one because we got that like link, that QR code that anyone could access and order. So like I remember it when someone took a picture of it, posted it, and everyone online just found that QR code, went on it, got to the link, and got a mind bender, like no worries. And then I was worried, oh, maybe it's like a thing where they know that you're not at the con or you can't all use the same QR code. They had to change that right quick, didn't they? So they came up with a way to kind of do it so that the people at the con get it first, effectively, and then they have some go up after the fact. And again, I think Chuckles was definitely easy to get. I ended up with 2 Chuckles because Pat and Phil hooked me up. So Phil was already at the show and he had a spare ticket through someone else who didn't want it. So as in a spare, exclusive. So that was offered, and I was like, thanks very much, perfect. And that made me kind of like go, oh, okay, I can chill now because that's locked in. And then I ended up getting one elsewhere, like I think on Pulse. So it was like that one was an easy one. Now, the point that Bisto makes is a very, very, very good point, and I do slip into this mode of viewing everything from my perspective because it just happens, but does depend on where in the world you are, 100%. Even I've noticed, like, a lot of people have been struggling in Canada, but they'll get stuff early and then they'll struggle with some other figure, and seems to be there seems to be no rhyme or reason to it. It seems to be completely random how that happens, or it's just exclusive based. And then you have people in the UK who get everything exclusively through Pulse now, which I think is bonkers. I really think that needs to change. But again, that's not a decision that was made by the G.I. Joe brand team, right? That's a high up decision that says this is how we're doing it, and we're doing it through Pulse. So that's not, and I think a lot of the team got a lot of flack for that. And it's like, well, you need to say something to Emily and stuff. It isn't her decision at the end of the day. She wasn't looking at it going, we need to switch to the UK. So we need to switch to Pulse UK. So it's like things like that we have to be mindful of, I think, definitely. And it's not, I don't think it's the consumer's fault either, because if a company is they're literally giving us, this is the face of the brand, and who else are you going to blame it on or talk or say or address or try and communicate with? You're not going to just know this stuff half the time. So yeah, I think that's definitely all good points, and I agree with all of it. Actually, I agree that it sucks that we can't just get those figures. The people that want them, just get them. One of the elements I would say on that one is that exclusive is the word there, and it's sort of lost a little bit of what that means. At one point, it was the case where you'd only get it in one place, and the only other place you'd ever get it was secondary market, independent toy stores where they might get a selection of those figures or vehicles, whatever they might be, and then, or even someone bought up a load to then sell again, like secondary market, effectively. So yeah, that doesn't happen as much anymore, and I think yeah, they're trying to make, what they're trying to do is they're trying to make it a little bit easier for people to get it, but at the same time keep that SDCC exclusive thing and exclusive. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, anywho, I haven't been to SDCC, but I was able to get all of the exclusives through Pulse, says Shelf Presence. It does help as well. I'll say this too. It helps if you're a premium Pulse member. A lot of people have complain about that to me a lot and say, oh, it's only works if you're a Pulse member. It's worth it at the end of the day. If you're collecting this stuff and you're buying it and you want to get it, become a Pulse member, because the $50 that you pay a year covers the shipping after like how many things? Not many, like 4 or 5 items. So like straight away, if you're buying G.I. Joe classified figures only on Pulse, it pays to be a Pulse premium member. because you will get that slight advantage prior to regular release. If you stay on top of when the live streams are, when they're going up for, it's hard to avoid now, really. So many people are posting about the information, like, sharing the live stream information, sharing the pre-orders go up at this time and all that kind of stuff. It's really difficult to avoid it unless you have a job, and I know this is also a case, where you cannot be checking your phone all the time, or you cannot be on a laptop, I get that totally. So it is about being very creative with your sick days. And after a while, the boss is going to be like, why do they always get sick on fan stream Thursdays? I wonder. But no, I know I'm joking aside. There are many different circumstances that don't make that easy. And I get that too. But I would say 100%. And I'm not trying to sell Hasbro premium membership here. What I'm trying to say to you guys is that I do that, and it is definitely worth it at the end of the day, because by the time you've gotten through that year with the amount of releases they have for just classified alone. I mean, you may be a multi-collect, you might collect all sorts of different things, in which case, even better, you can get like the amount you save on shipping throughout a year if you're getting multiple brands worth of stuff is insanity pants. Anyway, Hasbro SDCC exclusive show up at GameStop Canada at least the past 2 years. Yes, exactly. So there is elements of certain figures. Like I said, it's a bit random. You don't know which one is going to be the one that's going to be hard to get for the Canadian market, but they still have issues with that too. The QR code mess Mindbender was easy to get for a week. He really was. And then he just disappeared. I think a lot of people were holding out, thinking it would appear somehow again easily. I don't know. I just felt like that was also a thing that happened. I just went on Pulse and ordered Zartan. Yeah, I think I did that too, actually. I believe it's reasonable to assume the All Striker, Falcon, and Viper gliders, Cobra Claw, Skyhawk, Night Landing Craft are coming soon, says Jason. I think those are all very good options, honestly. The only figure that I have had an issue with getting has been Major Blood. That's a weird one as well. That was an exclusive, wasn't it? Was that a Target exclusive? I don't remember. But it's weird that one was difficult for you, because again, I could have sworn I saw a number of those. Actually, no, that was in a period where it was really difficult to get them. I don't even remember how I got mine. I think someone hooked me up. I think somebody hooked me up. I think someone got it from Target. I feel terrible now because I'm almost certain that's how it happened. A fan or a friend saw it in Target and said, do you need it? And I was like, yes. And they got it for me and sent it. But I can't remember who it was. So my bad. If it was you, let me know in the comments and I will correct that immediately. And remember, from the next time I have to remember that, I won't. I'll forget again, won't I? Remember when the only way to get SDCC stuff was to attend SDCC? I know, yeah. And I would get someone who would go a lot to try and get me stuff. I saw Major Blood at Target and passed. HoloNet, how dare you? Right. Jeremy says, I will always push premium. It does cover HasLab shipping too. Oh, God, yes. It does, doesn't it? That $50 pays for itself in secondary market exclusives. It really does. Chucky says it's worth it if you are backing HasLabs. There are ways to get free shipping from other sources. Okay, cool. But then it might just be easier to get the free shipping. Oh, do you mean like don't pay the $50 and then get, and then just find out other ways to get free shipping elsewhere? That's fair enough. I'm not a Pulse member, and that will absolutely help your odds of getting them. I gamble, live life on the edge. That's shelf present. Brilliant. Pulse Premium might not ship first, but I've never had an order messed up. Same, actually. I will say that, it's never been first, but it has a couple of times weirdly recently. Like the fact that my Night Force Shockwave is shipping around the same time that people are getting it in hand is a surprise to me. Yeah, that 1 hour window preemptive pre-order is pretty sweet. Easy Serpentor and Dr. Mindbender pickups. Yep. The only thing I buy on Pulse is classified, and the membership easily pays for itself in the amount I save on shipping. Yeah, same thing. Yep, Target Cobra Island. Thank you, Chucky, for Major Blood. The vamp was up for weeks. People had plenty of time to grab one. I think there was that. There's a thing as well, isn't there, of like the and kind of thing, and then when you see it that it's still there a couple of days later, that feeling of confidence that it's going to be there for a long period of time. But yeah, it sold out. The vamp did crazy numbers. I had to get one from Blumin, the United Kingdom, courtesy of In Demand, and it lives there now. Anyway, we need retro blood. Yeah, we kind of do, don't we? He was. I'm not sure if I've mentioned this before, but I think I have on the public things. But Major Blood was intended to be the last retro figure with Snake Eyes in that last two, because it wasn't effectively at the time of them together. It wasn't going to be the last two figures. But then when they got that kind of thing where they were going to be like, well, this is going to be the end of the line, we might as well make the Crimson Guard instead. Then they did that, but then obviously Hasbro changed direction again and said, we're going to do plastic packaging again. And that means that all your favorite retro stuff can be done. And it was like, okay, looks like we are doing more retro then. So it was a weird one, but that I believe that's what happened with Major Blood. So we were supposed to be getting one for the retro line, and then yeah, never transpired. I don't know if I don't know. I feel like, is it too late? Is it one of those feelings where it's like we had the opportunity and now it seems to have passed us a little bit? Or do you think it's worth doing a different blood? I don't know. I mean, it's a great figure. I definitely want them to address the rockets that go in his backpack, because they are resting rockets. There ain't no friction holding them in at all. Anyway, a lot of people still want him. Yeah, I mean, I don't mean to do him again, but to do a different version of like a retro version kind of thing. You know what I mean? Not the same figure is what I'm saying. Bloodhounds is a great shout though. Yeah, from the comics. Blood's rockets suck hard. I'm glad I read that a certain way. That is a tongue twister that could come out very differently. Glad Major Blood didn't get an early Walmart retro figure. Retro Duke and Scarlet show Hasbro can do much more for retro. Yes, indeed, Ben. Going back to plastic packaging was a big win for Hasbro and the fans. It was actually, Talib. It did feel like it was a necessity for a number of reasons, and I think the window for a decent group of collectors needed to happen, and I think the retro bubbles sort of needed to happen as well for them to be worth doing, because it doesn't make much sense, does it, not doing the actual bubble as is. Anyway, I'm going to call it there because we've been doing this for hours. I didn't realize. Sorry, I'm an idiot. I said like we're only a couple of minutes before we there for about 20 minutes more. Right then. Thank you very much, guys, for joining me today on the stream. Very excited. I'm getting that ready already. Very excited for Night Force Falcon, and just being a new Falcon, really. And of course, how did I not put an old head sculpt image on this particular episode and have them side by side? I might do that on the socials just to be like how it was and how it's going. I can't remember that meme. That's gone now anyway, isn't it? It's like well old. But yeah, I think that's a really good one to do. I'm going to do that now. That's going to waste another hour of my life probably messing around with some graphic before someone else does it in the chat as well. Anyway, been an absolute pleasure chatting with you guys, and like I said, I will be back. God, probably very soon. We've got Chucky says there's an image floating around of the old head sculpt on a puppet being held by the new head sculpt. I've got to see that one. Anyway, right, like I'll be back. I will. It might be randomly tomorrow if there's any news, and it will probably. Well, Hire haven't released anything for a week or so, have they? I'm sniffing a Hire reveal tomorrow. What do you guys think? I don't know. I'll have to keep an eye out around midnight tonight to see if they post anything. But I do feel like a Hire reveal is on the cards. I still haven't done that graphic. I started doing one when there were only 12 reveals, and it was like split up so thin that you couldn't see the figures in the spaces. And now we're at 20 something, so I'm gonna have to do something different, like a grid or something. It's gonna be worth it, I think. Maybe not. Right then. Yeah, I'll be back. We've got the oh, Jeremy sent me the. Okay, I'll look at the image. Chaz the Guru posted it. That's hilarious and amazing. Right then. Thanks, Jeremy, for sending that. I'll see you on the next one. It will be soon, no doubt. It's either tomorrow or Saturday for the weekly, but you'll see me then. Stay fresh, cheese bags. And as always, after 3, you know what to do. 1, 2, 3. Full force. See you. That's it for this instalment of the Full Force News Burst. Make sure to like, comment and subscribe. See you next time, and as always, full force. Make sure you get involved with the discussion by liking, sharing and commenting on these videos, and as always you can keep up with the show after listening by following on X, formerly Twitter, @TheFullForce, liking the Facebook page, facebook.com/TheFullForce. We've also added a brand new Instagram, so check us out there as well, @TheFullForce Podcast, and if you would like to contact the show you can message us on any of those platforms with feedback and questions. We also have a Patreon page, so if you want to show your support for the show, see your name up in lights on these videos, or enjoy exclusive bonus content, then check out patreon.com/TheFullForce Podcast, or click on the link on any of the posts this podcast appears in. Full Force.